The only reason I'm here on this stage is because of open source. That's how I taught myself how to program when I was a kid, because of the grace of people giving their work away for free, doing things in the open, doing things publicly. And that was back in the day when I was a kid. It was around Linux, and the open source community was starting to thrive as the internet was getting more and more accessible to people. And there was a bunch of communities on the old system called Usenet. Some of you might be familiar with it, some of you may not. But it was a message board, effectively. And it was fairly decentralized, just like IRC, Internet Relay Chat, was decentralized. And during the early days of the internet, there was a lot of really incredible open source sharing and energy, and also a lot of inherently decentralized energy through these older systems. And then we saw this wave of more and more things getting centralized behind the web, such as Google, and really centralizing the discovery problem. How do I find things? How do I find what I want to read about, what I want to understand? But in Usenet, there was a group called Alt Cypherpunks, which were a bunch of fans of cryptography and cryptographers and mathematicians, and the early days of PGP were chronicled there, and just a number of really radical acts and radical people. And the gem, the thing that everyone was searching for, was money. How to not reinvent money, but put money back in the control of the people. And so I'd been following that and interested in it for quite some time, as another way to learn and understand. And I was a punk when I was a kid, and I thought it was just the coolest, most righteous, noble pursuit. But it wasn't until 2008 when things really came together with Satoshi, and whoever that person is, or the group of people are, took from so many ideas all over the internet to crystallize into this one moment, which became the white paper. And once I read it in that time, I was like, wow, this is it. This is incredible, because it is open, because it is provable, because it is transparent, because it is visible to everyone. And incredibly, whoever this person is has, kicked their ego to the side and given it to the world. And that, again, an act of grace that I saw early in the open source community, and want to continue to replicate and want to continue to push. So that's how I came to it. Square was starting at the same time as Bitcoin finally got going in 2009. There was a lot of financial energy because of the financial crisis in 2008. So there were a lot of companies that were starting at that time, including our own. And we watched it very closely. We tested something in 2014 where we gave sellers the ability to accept Bitcoin on their web pages. No one really used it. We didn't have sellers that people really wanted to spend their Bitcoin at that time. But in 2018, we saw another opportunity to, again, learn about Bitcoin and how it might change our industry and what that trend is, and we built it into Cash App as an exchange. It was a Hack Week project with me and Mike Brock, who's back there, who spoke yesterday. And our only goal was just to be able to convert Bitcoin instantly to buy a cup of coffee, and eventually that translated into the exchange product for a number of reasons. But that still is our goal. We're not in it to build an exchange. We're in it to help the internet realize a native currency, and therefore help the world realize a native currency. And when I say currency, as Jack said before, more of an open money transport, an open money protocol that we can all see, we can trust, that's not controlled by a government, that's not controlled by a corporation. The only reason our company, Square, exists is because we saw a problem in that Visa and MasterCard were not allowing small merchants onto their network. And we just said, we're going to figure out how to do that. So we're very familiar with companies, whether they be banks or networks like Visa and MasterCard, not enabling everyone and choosing through not wanting to put resources into it or deliberately, potentially in collaboration with various governments. We saw what happened in Nigeria and SARS, and how the Nigerian government went to various bank corps within to stop protesters receiving money, which Bitcoin made up for. So our whole reason for being as a company is solving the same problem that Bitcoin will ultimately solve for everyone in the world, in my belief.